So so these are the objectives. So let me copy it and have it on the screen. Okay, so here we go. After completing this module, we'll be able to do the following.
Okay.
Describe the
Hopefully.
components of the describe the components and technologies that comprise the group policy framework. Configure and understand the variety of policy setting types. Scope GPOs by using links, security groups, Microsoft Windows management, implementation filters, loopback processing, preference targeting. Describe how GPOs are processed. Locate the event log that contain group policy related events. Okay, so the first one, describe the components and technology that make up group policy. So let me just copy all this. Let me put it in a notepad somewhere. Okay, and then let's go with the first one. Um, okay, so this first one here is what Microsoft wants us to be able to do at the end of this one.
Mhm.
Um, come on, copy. Okay, here we go. And so, yeah, here we go. Um, so yeah, identify the business requirement for configuration management. So we'll start from there and we just go on. So okay, so basically we just start from the beginning and we just go down. So basically what they're saying here is what are the importance or what's like the benefits of using something like group policy? What benefit does group policy bring to like our infrastructure? What benefits do we have?
Mhm.
So that's the
Yeah,
first thing we'll do. So what are the benefits that you think group policy brings?
yeah, it's more efficient,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
you can manage a lot of clients and computers or users at once.
Yeah.
This is a great benefit.
Yeah. Um, more computers and users can be managed at once. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. The term that Microsoft used for that is centralized management. Yeah. So we basically we manage everything from one main console. So we don't have to use multiple consoles. We can
Hmm.
manage everything centrally. Okay. Any other benefits that um, this provides us that using something like
Um,
group policy provides to us?
yeah, like compliance, security compliance.
Yeah.
So you can see how many computers
Mm,
are using a special sort of security policy, for example. Or when you look at password policies,
yeah.
so you can see how much
Mm,
how often the user has to change his password, for example.
yeah.
You can set the password complexity for your whole domain
Mm-hmm.
or forest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So basically, it all still comes on that single category, I think, of
Mm.
centralized management. So
Yeah.
whether it's security or it's policies of use of computer or
Mm.
a way that the computer works or something like that, it's just centralized management, whether in any which way, it's just centralized
Mm.
management. That's like
Yeah.
the main one. So and I
Yeah.
think that's like the main one that they mentioned also in the textbook. That is just
Yeah.
centralized
Yeah.
management. Okay.
Where
So
you can also do software deployment, for example, with group
yeah.
policy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also more efficient.
Yeah. So, yeah, security compliance thing. So it's basically like
Mm.
anything we want to do in terms of policies
Mm.
to our computers and users, we can do it centrally.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm back in a second.
no problem. Yeah.
So I'm back.
Yeah. Good one. Okay. So then the other thing they said is the core component and terminology of group policies. So
Um,
what are the like the core component of group policy?
is this a group? Is this a group policies and group policy preferences?
Yeah,
This,
yeah. So yeah, that's right. We got um, policies, we got preferences. Yeah, and what else apart from policies and preferences?
core
Um,
component.
the core component of group policies.
Client-side extensions, perhaps. CSE. This is
Yeah,
also a core component.
yeah. It is
Like
CSEs.
the way the client is reading the
Yeah,
group policy. Yeah.
yeah. Anything else in terms of core components?
Mm. Uh,
Um, or the things that make up group policies. So we have the policies, we have the preferences, we have this one. We have templates.
of course. Yeah. That's,
Group policy template, because actually group policies are made up of two things, like the group policy object and the group policy template.
mm.
And group policy template, okay. um yeah, because for example, if we go on the like if we go on the this one and we go insert control delete and we go active directories and computers. Mm, so we go to go here, group policy management. So what Microsoft is saying is that the core things that make up a group policy
Mm.
is this one, like the group policy object here.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that the objects here actually don't store any settings. He said this as the group policy object here. He said then the next side is the group policy template, which store the settings, which are
Mm.
stored under sysvol.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is that this one itself doesn't store any settings. It's just, oh, sorry, it's not object. Sorry, what they call it is group policy container. So we have the group policy container and the group policy template. These two together equals group policy object. So that's what they're saying. And what they're saying is that um, this one here, which are the group policy containers, are just containers.
Mm.
While this one here, um, that are stored under sysvol, they are the templates. So these are the templates, while the other one are are just the containers. So these are the templates, these are the containers.
Mm.
And what they're saying is that the templates and the containers um, they are replicated differently.
Yeah.
So yeah, so how are the templates replicated?
So the, the template is a part in this wall,
Yeah, so the template
and
is the one that's stored in
this
sysvol.
wall, yeah, and this wall replication is due to how it is called again. Uh,
Sysvol.
um, it's not Active Directory replication. It's like
Yeah,
this file server
yeah, yeah,
replication.
FRS.
FRS, yeah.
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 So yeah, replication occurs using FRS or DFRS, depending
Yeah,
on yeah which
yeah, right. And
nomenclature
DFRS
we're
is
using.
a new one since 2008 or so. Yeah,
Yes, you're right. So yeah,
yeah.
so
And the
and
group
then
policy container
yeah,
is copied due to Active Directory replication.
yeah, exactly. AD replication. So it occurs using AD replication using the directory and directory replication agent, and which works using the KCC, the knowledge,
Consistency check.
yeah, consistency checker. In other words, this one works differently. This one replicates to Active Directory, knowledge consistency checker, and Active Directory site and set Active Directory sites. Why this one just operates, replicate. So what they're saying is that what could happen, because these two make up a group policy object, what could happen is that the client comes to this guy and this one has already replicated. Why this one, for some reason, hasn't replicated? So the settings
Mm.
hasn't replicated. This one has already replicated. So because this one keeps the container keeps the version number. So the
Mm.
client comes and comes to the domain controller and say, hey, which version number do you have? This guy's like, yeah, there's two changes that has been made. And it's like, yeah, I need those two changes. But then this one hasn't replicated to that domain controller yet. So then they said you see an error message in your event log. But what could happen also is that this one has replicated, but then this one hasn't replicated. In that case, what do you think the impact would be? So it hardly happens, but they're saying it's something that
Mm.
could happen. So this one has replicated,
Um,
but this one
okay.
hasn't replicated. So what do you think will happen?
Um, I guess the client thinks that there are no changes being made,
Exactly. Yeah.
and so the client doesn't try to get the changes.
Good one.
Except when you do a GP update slash force, of course. But yeah,
Yeah.
normally you wouldn't do an update. Yeah.
Exactly. Very good one. So in other words, the client will just go like, so he goes to check this one, which is the container, and he's like, hold on, there's been no changes, so there's no changes to make. So he's not looking into this guy to say, hey, can you send me anything? So good one. So the other thing, so let's try to describe all these other ones that we've mentioned. So we said policies. So
Mm.
what are policies?
It's a part of group policy
Yep.
that does changes to the registry normally, and the user has no chance to change the settings that are set by group policies.
Um, to part of group policy that does changes to the registry.
Hmm.
Are you describing policies or preferences?
I always mix them up.
Because normally, if a user goes locally to a machine, I go locally to a machine and I let's say not let me not go to this domain one. Let's just go to this local machine and I
Yeah,
type
yeah,
gpedit.msc. Now gpedit.msc bring up this one. So I can
yeah.
make changes to policies here, but I can't see anywhere that I can make changes to preferences here.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that one is describing preferences. There's a way for the user to come and edit like policies, but preferences you can see preferences here because preferences are just direct registry manipulation. Yeah. And by the way, just to mention, like um, I think this is part of 7410. Um,
mm.
the group policy locally. How many group policy settings can be changed locally on a user's machine?
On the computer side,
Hmm.
on the user side without administrative permissions, and
Good
for
one.
the administrator.
Good one. Very good. Yeah. So yeah, we've got just the computer policy setting, then we've got the one for non-administrators or administrators, or we can set if we want for specific and users. And then the
Mm.
other thing to say is that where exactly are group policy objects? Where are they stored on this computer? So like the group policy templates themselves, where are they stored on the computer?
Mm, should be stored in the registry.
No, what I mean is that the group policy no sorry, that's the wrong word. The group policy settings that are available.
It's under
Yeah, you can take the mouse and
wait,
you can take the mouse and browse to there.
yeah, it's under. Wait a second. Yeah, I know. Should be under policy definitions.
Yeah, good one. Good one.
Yeah, Windows policy
Exactly.
definitions.
Yeah,
And this is the local store, and you can copy the local store into the central store.
good one. Excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mm.
And then what's the difference between because we've got two settings here, we've got ADML and we've got ADMX here. So what's the difference between the ADMX and the ADML?
The ADMX is configuration, and
Yeah,
the ADML is the language,
yeah,
so to say,
good
the
one.
language pack. of the
Excellent.
description, and yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Nice one.
Mhm.
Very nice one. Good one. So let's move further a bit now. So let's take this one. Let's move this one down a bit. So let's move this one. Those changes to the registry that users can edit. So let's move that to preferences. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So what about policies? What are policies?
Okay, but in preferences, is it possible for a user to change the settings, or is it in policies?
They can change the settings. The only way they can change it is to go directly to registry.
Ah, okay.
So that is preferences.
Hmm.
So the only way the user can change it is by the user going directly into registry and
Hmm.
making changes there. What do you think?
Yeah, because I know one part of the group policy are stuff that the administrator configures in advance, but
Hmm.
afterwards the user has a chance
Hmm.
to change the setting.
Yep.
But there are some configurations
Hmm.
that the user cannot change
Yep.
after the administrator configured the group policy.
Yep.
And I always mix it up if it is a policy or preference.
Yeah. So
But
that's
it's so
preference.
yeah, so because sometimes you got this part of the GUI and this is grayed out, or you got something a dialog like this part is configured by the administrator by group policy or stuff like that. So this
Yep.
is preference, right?
Yeah, that's preference.
Okay,
Yep.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah. So yeah. What about policies? I would say
Yeah, then policies all the all the other part,
yeah. Policies
the
are just
rest.
settings. Yeah. So that's just simply so put it the way simply they're just
Yeah,
settings. Just
yeah,
settings that users
settings.
change. Then what about CSEs that you mentioned?
Yeah, so the client has to interpret the policies
Yeah.
made by the server,
Yeah.
and there are some DLLs on the client
Mm.
um, that has to interpret these settings, and this is where client-side extensions are good for. It's like when you want to configure the Internet Explorer,
Yeah.
there was a change in the client-side extensions from EA9 to EA10 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Nice one.
Mm.
Okay, okay, yeah. So the next thing that they want us to do, well, they said benefit of implementing GPOs, which was the one that we talked about earlier. Uh,
Uh,
Although they went into like a couple of descriptions here, which we'll talk about later. Then they talk about understanding group policy object, which is basically like the old simple stuff that we've done in 7410 of understanding user configuration makes changes to user settings, computer configuration makes changes to computer settings, yeah, and stuff like that. Okay, and so the other one, which is like the other main thing, is they want us to be able to discuss group policy application. So let's discuss that. So group policy application. So how are group policies applied to clients? So that's basically what we're discussing now. So let's go step by step. The computer starts up, the user logs into the computer. What's
mm.
the process of group policy application?
Yeah, yeah,
Number one.
first it's the all the computer policies, yeah, based on the hierarchy and the enforcement and block and security, of course. But first of all, it should be the computer policies of the domain.
So yeah, so basic what so this one is not like the processing. I think the one you're mentioning is processing. So that's
Yeah,
group policy processing. When you're saying group policy application, so how does you've touched on it by mentioning CSEs. So basically, like what you're saying here is that number one, the first thing that happens is that there's a service on the
yeah, it's a
client.
service going up. Yeah,
Yeah. So what's the
yeah.
service called?
I read about it 3 days ago in the blog, but
So let's go here. We go on the services
yeah,
of
okay,
MSC.
yeah, yeah.
and even on this computer, and we
Yeah,
go group.
perhaps
Yeah.
somewhere on the G group policy
Group.
client. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So it's got good policy client. So it's like this service. So I like the name. It's like really
Yeah,
straightforward. It's not
yeah,
confusing.
absolutely, absolutely.
So the service is responsible for applying settings configured by administrator for the computer and users, blah blah blah. So basically, what they're saying is that the first thing that will happen is that the service on the computer on the client called group policy client, speaks to the domain controllers to find out which policies apply to the user and the computer. So that's service on
Mm.
the client, go to client, determines which policies apply to the user that is logged in and the computer. So after that, what happens? So now the client, so basically the service on the client contacts the server and says, hey, which GUID of policy, so does all the calculations, say which policies apply to this user is logged in on
Mm.
this computer, tell me which
Mm.
policies apply to me. So once the domain controller says, yeah, these are the policies that apply to you, what's the next thing that happens?
Well, the client has to look if there were any changes in the group policy.
Yeah. So this like even just before it's not even applied anything. Just so let's say this like the very beginning. It's like the first time this computer is being logged
Ah, okay,
into ever.
okay. Well, which policy? Yeah, afterwards, the client has to apply the computer
Yeah, I
group
mean you're
policies.
right. So
Yeah,
you're right. So basically
yeah.
the group policy client, well in this case the next thing that you would do after determining the group policy client um um downloads the policies and caches them. So that's the next thing that happens is that the group policy client service, after it has determined, hey, these are the policies that apply to me, and these are the policies that apply to the user and to the computer, then it downloads them from the server and it stores them in the cache on the client itself. Then after that, it now passes it to the one that you mentioned, which is the CSE. So it now passes them to the CSEs to process them. And how does the CSC go about processing this? Because Microsoft they discussed this one in the manual in 7411. Even though I'm sure they did not ask
Mm,
it in the exam, but it's just a good thing to know.
um, I know that the CSEs got GUIDs,
Yeah,
and every group policy has a set of um, attached CSE
good one.
GUIDs
That's
attached
the
to it.
one that they emphasized. Yeah. So they
Yeah.
heavily emphasized that every uh, policy setting has its own CSE. So basically, that's what they said. And the example they gave is that there's a CSE for software
Yeah,
installation, there's a CSE for login script,
yeah,
there's a CSE uh, for
for every
security
arrangement.
settings and stuff like that. So that's like the thing that they mentioned that there's a CSE for everything. And the other thing that they mentioned is that, so let's highlight it. So yes, yeah, e.g. CSE for security settings and CSE for logon, log off script. Yeah. Okay. So then the other thing that they mentioned is that the behavior of the CSEs, like the way they apply or they process this the group policy object, that behavior can be changed. We can change the behavior of the CSEs. So that's one thing that they mentioned. So how do we change the behavior of the CSEs if we want?
Good question. I think in a group policy object.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right. It's in a
Yeah,
group policy object.
yeah.
Under let's see Windows settings. Um, come on. Yeah. Okay, under Windows settings. The Windows settings though. Is this security setting? Not even sure again. See Windows settings, security settings, or is it software settings? No, not software settings. The administrative templates. Is it system? Uh, is there anything there that says okay, group policy? Let's see. Yes. So here we go. So these are the let's go standard. So these are the ways. So we can see all the um, CSEs here. We have this quarter policy processing, registry
Ah,
policy processing. So that's under group policy on the system. Under we have
mm,
script policy processing. We have security policy processing. So if you want to change the behavior of the script policy processing,
okay.
we can change the behavior here. Yeah.
Ah,
So we can say this policy setting determines when policies that assign shared script are updated. So we can say we want you to manipulate and tell the CSC on the client that this
mm,
is when you're going to apply this the
mm.
group policies that apply to you, or this is the way you process them, or this is
Yeah.
when you process them, or this is how often you process them, and stuff like that. So we can manipulate the behavior of CSEs under the group policy section under system. So
Ah,
we can
okay.
say yeah.
Mhm.
So we can say for
Nice
wired
one.
policy processing, yeah, this is how you process. For registry policy processing, this is how you process. For this
Mm,
quarter policy processing, this is how you process.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So then the next
Nice.
thing that they mentioned, yeah, because there's another important thing that they mentioned. So after this one, so basically CSEs is now like, yeah, I'm gonna start processing these policies that I've downloaded. I'm gonna start processing them and applying them. And so after it's applied them, so what's the next phase that happens? That's what they're saying there. It's the next thing that happens after processing them. So basically, the next thing that they mentioned is that the next thing that happens is that so after processing them the first time, then um, group policy refresh happens every 90 to 120 minutes for user and computer. So that's basically what they're saying that then after it's applied them the very first time, the next thing that happens is group policy refresh, which is every
Since there's
90. Yeah.
an exception for security settings for like 5 minutes or 8 minutes or so, but I think the security
Yes,
settings
good
are
one. Good point that you're
updated
bringing up.
more regularly.
Yeah. So actually they mentioned that here. So let me quickly bring that up. So they did mention that that there's an exception for security settings. You're right.
Mm.
Where did they put that? Let me see. So they mentioned that in one of the let's see I can't even see it here again. But yeah, they did mention that the only exception is security settings, which is applied. How many minutes does it apply?
I guess it's 5, but I'm not sure.
Let's see. They mentioned it here.
It's,
For some reason, I'm not
it's
seeing
just a guess,
it. Let's see.
but it should be
Uh,
less than 10.
let's see. Oh, come on. I know it's here somewhere. Uh, 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 yeah, okay. So this one, I'm not sure. They didn't really mention the refresh. The thing they mentioned about security setting exception is this, because they said now all this process here takes place at log on or log off, sorry, log in for user configuration and startup for computer configuration. This first three here. So what they're now saying is that for the other thing that happens is that when group policy refresh happens, um, group policy refresh um, only updates, only applies new settings. So group policy refresh, application of new uh, or modified settings. So group policy refresh, application of new modified settings happens every 90 to 120 minutes for user and computer, right? The exception, which is the one that you mentioned,
Mm.
is security settings. And this is what they said. They said security, the exception is security settings, um, which are reapplied every 16 hours, even if a
16
GPU,
hours.
yeah,
Wow.
they
Okay.
said even if a GPU has not changed. So that's the difference, is that, these ones will only be refreshing every 19 to 120 minutes, um, new or modified settings. For security settings, even if the GPU has not changed, it will reapply it every 16 hours. So the exception is security settings, which are reapplied every 16 hours, even if the GPU has not changed. So that's what they mentioned in the textbook.
Yeah, yeah. The CSE behaves like, except for the fact that every 16 hours security settings, CSE applies all settings in all GPOs regardless of change.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's what they
yeah,
said.
yeah.
So basically, for the others, like every 90 to 120 minutes, we apply new or modified changes alone. But security setting is even if nothing has changed, I'm going to reapply you every 16 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
so to
yeah.
speak. So
Nice.
yeah, so that's what they
So a little
mentioned.
bit more than I think. Oh, how come I made up to 5 minutes? Perhaps I read too much about Kerberos or stuff like that. Because there you got this 5 minutes margin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell,
it's
tell,
with Kerberos. Yeah,
tell,
perhaps I
tell me
mixed it
about
up.
it. I tell you, we're talking about CCNA earlier. Oh God, I was reading something about the CCMP stuff, and you'll just be like, where does all this end? Because now you're reading about old time. So there's old time for spanning tree and hello time for spanning tree. But
Ah,
then
spanning tree.
there's
Okay.
old time for OSPF and hello time for OSPF. There's old time for HSRP, and then you can confuse everything together that you're describing the old time for HSRP when you're talking about spanning tree, because everything just has old time and hello time and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It can get confusing
And
sometimes.
everything has timers, exactly. Yeah, like what which timer is this one? So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's like
So,
globally refresh.
so it's important to repeat all the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Then the
Yeah.
other thing to mention there is that um, computer, which I know. So when are computer policies applied?
When the computer starts up,
Good one. Computer
uh,
policies
uh,
um, are applied at startup. What about user policies?
when the user logs on.
When the user logs on. But again, there's an
Mm.
exception. There's an exception of some policies which cannot be applied when the user logs on or when the computer
Um.
starts up.
Uh,
So that's the other one that they mentioned.
what about folder
Good
redirection?
one, great one.
Uh,
So
uh,
there are some policies that how did they put it? Let me use their word so I don't mention something wrong. Let me use Microsoft Word. So let's see. Microsoft Word is let's see. Certain policies like folder redirection and software installation can't apply. Oh, okay. It's not as if they cannot apply when the user logs on. So actually, so that is wrong. So there are some policies um, that can't apply by group policy refresh.
hmm.
They have to be applied at log on or log off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like there
Ah,
are
yeah.
some policies that can't apply using step 4, which is every 90 and 20 minutes. And one example is group policy, folder redirection that you mentioned. So what
Yeah.
they're saying is that, which we've seen many times, that you go on the command prompt and you type gp update slash force, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you have to log out.
You
There's this
have to log
folder,
off
yeah,
or you have to restart the machine
yeah,
in order to process the
yeah.
policies. Yeah.
Because there are some
Mm.
policies like that folder redirection is like, no, I can't apply in the background and just, automatically, redirect the folder while the user is logged in. Like, no, the only time it can be applied is during logon. So here's like another interesting thing that Microsoft brought out in this manual, which is a really, really interesting thing, is that what this means, what this indicates is that the okay, let's give the examples here, e.g. folder redirection. Another one, which one do you think would be another one that cannot apply in the background?
Um, Processing of scripts, I think,
Yep,
like
that would be another good one.
Falcon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hold
Mm,
on, save or software installation
yeah.
or logon script. So what they're now saying is that for this reason, if a user is just logging into a computer for the very first time, it takes two logins to apply the settings.
Mm.
Why do you think that is? So what
Mm.
they're saying that because certain these policies they don't apply when the user they can only apply when the user is logging in or when the computer is starting up. They can't apply in the background after the user has logged in. So because of that, these policies by default, when the user is logging into the computer for the very first time, it takes two logins to apply.
Mm.
Why do you think is that? Here's the reason. Let's see. Here's the reason.
I think it depends on the art of processing. Like, aren't there synchronous processing and background processing?
Yeah, it's related to that, but the main reason is this, is because by default, a Windows client, when you log into a Windows computer,
Don't
it doesn't wait for the network to
doesn't wait for the network. Yeah.
exactly. It doesn't wait for the network to initialize
Mm.
before logging in. It's not gonna wait for the network to initialize. So it's just gonna go ahead and log you in, whether network has initialized or not. So for that reason, the user logs in the first time, right? The policy is applied to the machine, right? Then the user logs out and logs back in, and then it processes that policy. Or the
Mm.
policy is downloaded, then user logs out and logs back in. Or one thing that they said is that even if the user has logged in before into that computer and then you apply this new policy, when the user tries to log in, by default, it won't wait for the network. It will just use the user's cached credential to log in.
Mm.
So what that means is that the user logs in with cached credential, it downloads this new policy. The user has to log out and log back in to now apply it. But there's a
Mm.
way to change that, which is what they mentioned in the textbook. One way to
Yeah.
change that is which way do we change that?
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Perhaps. Um, is it perhaps it's here? I think you can
Yep, good one.
keyword configured any manage
Mhm.
any, and I think like wait. There's something wait and network.
And the weight, you got hand in the weight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's the end. Wait and network. Okay, we can try this one. Still too much.
You can go to all settings, maybe.
Yeah. All settings.
That's it. That's like, I don't
Always
know.
wait for the network at computer startup and logout.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, good one. So that's under which setting is that under? So that's under which? That's under system logon.
System logon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good one. So this one, that's the one. So we can change this one. But then what they now want is that if we enable this, get ready, users may complain because this slows down login time. Because
Yeah.
that's the reason why this one is not used by default because to quicken login time, hey,
Yeah.
don't wait for the network, go ahead and log in. If there's cache
Yeah.
credential, use it, log in. So
Yeah.
they're saying, hey, if you want it to be processing so that you don't have to be logging out and logging in when you do further redirection and stuff like, so you can set this one so that user logs in once and then everything is happens, first login. He said, but if if you don't don't want that, then you can enable this one, and then that's the other one. So that's just to mention the exception to this one. So yeah, so that's interesting. So that's nice. Okay, so the next thing that the Microsoft wants us to discuss in at least this first one is, let's see, what's the next one? So this one is group policy application. So we've
Mm.
discussed that. So yeah, group policy refresh happens every 90 to 120 minutes for user, and then for computers. And then the other thing is, can we change this? Can we change group policy application? Is there a way to change it?
Mm.
My wife said no.
uh, I said she said yo. It's a Chinese word for there is a way.
Ah,
Yeah.
he thought you said yo, which is Chinese word for yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you can change
No,
the
I'm not aware,
setting.
sincerely. I'm not aware of if there's a way to change it by policy. Maybe I've not actually done any search of is there a way to change this? I've not. So I'm not sure if there's a way to change this to force computers to say, hey, I want you to do it every 120 minutes. And they didn't
So
mention, I didn't remember reading it in the textbook.
where you can change the refresh rate.
Can we, where do we change that?
That's a good question. Perhaps you can look for this one
Yeah.
or this is a local one. Where's
Yeah.
the
So
domain
yeah,
name?
so
This
long
one
DC
or
one,
what?
yeah.
Oh, good question.
So
Perhaps you
that's
can
the
set a
thing.
filter like a refresh or so. uh, filter
Yeah.
options.
Mm. Yeah, I can see. That's it. Set group policy
Hmm.
refresh interval.
Set group policy
This one.
refresh interval
Yeah,
for computers.
yeah. So this policy specify how often group policy computer is updated, why the computer is in use. Yeah, good one. Very, very good one.
Wait a
This,
second. What
yeah,
about
carry on. Yeah,
the group policy refresh interval for
for
domain
domain
controllers?
controllers. Yeah.
This is the 5 minutes. This is it. Yeah.
Okay,
If
I
you
see.
disable or not configure systems, the domain controller updates group policy every 5 minutes.
Yeah, I
This is
see.
the reason why I mixed it up.
Yeah,
Ah,
makes sense now. Yeah,
I
I
knew
see.
there was something with
Yeah,
5 minutes.
yeah, yeah. So this is the exception. So actually, we should add that. We should add that on the note. Let's add that on the note. So the other exception is that security settings are played every 60 hours. Then the other thing is that uh, another exception. So let's add that. Another exception is the domain controllers,
Yeah.
um, which refreshed by default every 5 minutes. Good one. And
Hmm.
then the way to change them, let's see where that policy is located.
Yeah.
So we
Should be
know
somewhere in security, I guess.
system setting
System
under
group
group
policy.
policy.
Okay.
Okay,
Hmm.
makes sense actually.
Yes.
Timing can be changed on the computer configuration, uh, admin template, uh, system, right? System and then group policy. So that's a good one.
Hmm.
So that's one way that we can change this refresh rate. Of course, and there's a way that we can because group policy is like one thing that they mentioned in the book is that group policy is like client driven. There's a lot of group policies client driven
Yeah.
from the side of the client.
Yeah.
So if you say group policy, is it a push uh, um, application process or is it a pull application process? Which one will you say it is? Is it a
It's
push or a pull?
more pull
Yeah, exactly. So
process.
that's what they said. So they said, I said group policy is not. So that's what they said in the book. It is not a push
Yeah.
application process. It's a pull
Yeah.
application. Even if you configure something new, all it does is signify to the computer, hey, there's a change, pull it down. So the
Yeah.
computer, so they said, actually, let me look for the statement that they mentioned. So this is the statement that they
Hmm.
mentioned. They said group policy is very client driven. And
Yeah.
they said it is not a push technology. So let's add that.
Hmm.
Group policy is very client driven, and it is not. Am I typing? No. It's very client driven, and it is not. Thank you. And it is not a push technology. Okay, so the other thing that they mentioned is that, of course, the one about application, part of group policy application is there's a way to manipulate all this, which we all know, GP updates. So
Yeah.
well, I know you know already, but yeah, if you explain, and just for the sake of the record, in terms of what the difference is between GP update and GP update first.
The GB update updates all the group policies that has changes in it,
Yeah, good one,
and just like the typical refresh that the client does every 90
good
to
one,
120 minutes, and the GP update slash force updates all the group policies regardless if there are changes or
good
not.
one. Excellent. Just like typical group policy refresh while the IGP updates slash force updates regardless of changes. Okay, good one. So the other one that they mentioned on the application is the PowerShell, of course, the PowerShell method of GP updates. So what's the PowerShell method of GP updates?
Mm.
Method of
Uh,
GP updates.
Get this command.
Yeah,
uh, uh,
it's invoke GP updates.
Invoke GB update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the then okay, also on the application, they mentioned that there's a way to do application from the client side, which is the one that we've mentioned, GP update slash force, invoke GP updates. But there's a way to do
Mm.
it from the server side also.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
new way in 2012. You
Yes.
can do it
Yeah, you
in
can take the mouse and
directly.
show. Yeah.
I think you can do it in Active Directory users in computers.
Um
And all in the group policy,
yeah, that's the one I know of, the group policy one. Yeah. So I
but
think that is
not
the next
in
one.
not in this one.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah,
It's
that
in,
one.
like in this one, like
Yeah.
domain controllers, and
Yeah, good one.
then
Group policy updates. That one, the top one, group policy updates. Yeah, that one.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
I read about it, but I actually never clicked the button.
yeah, yeah. So it's, yeah,
Yeah.
so it's group policy
Okay.
update. But then what they say is that even after you click this one, it doesn't mean it will go instantly apply it like that. It has like a
Okay.
10 minutes to apply it. So basically, the client will decide at random 10-minute interval to apply.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what
Yeah,
is
this
like
makes
different with
sense.
this one.
It's
Yeah,
like when you update like 1,000 clients or so.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
Would
why.
be a good idea to update all the clients at once.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what is it that yeah, so the remote GP update on the O11 is at 2012. It has a random delay of 10 minutes that cannot be changed.
Mm. Mm. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
but yeah, so this other one, because Microsoft might ask this one in the question because they like PowerShell a lot, is under PowerShell, there's a way that we can also update a remote computer. So we can use invoke GP updates.
With
Yeah,
is there something like a dash computer option or stuff like that?
yeah, yeah. And then with this one, the random delay, we can
In
edit
minute.
it. So if we do it from
Okay.
the GUI and we go to do it for an OU and we right click it, we can change the random 10 minutes that it has to go through. So the
Ah,
random 10 minutes has to be, but if we try to update, do GPU update for a computer remotely, we can set random delay in minutes and set it to 0, which means, hey, forget the 10-minute random delay, apply this thing instantly. And
yeah,
then, so
yeah.
yeah, so that's one. So maybe Microsoft might mention all these strange things and say, how do you, you know, if you, which one of these PowerShell commands updates, group policy instantly? You just go, yeah,
Okay.
one,
What
the one. Yeah,
do you know how it is about Windows XP machines? Do they understand these commands?
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
don't think so.
yeah,
I'm not
like over
sure
the
is the
but
right answer
over
actually.
over the GUI method we just talked about.
Yeah,
So when I say okay, right click and update, uh,
group policy
where is
update.
it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one. Okay, and does a XP machine also understand this command?
I'll guess so. The reason why I'll
Yeah,
guess so is that I've not
okay.
actually practiced it, but I would have thought they will mention it in this manual if it doesn't.
Mm,
So they
mm,
didn't
mm,
mention that XP is done because my guess, again, this is just a guess, more studies still need to be done about this one, is that what this one actually does is it simply just invokes GP update on the client side. Because
mm,
again, GP update is client driven, group policy is client driven. So it's a pull technology. So it's basically just invokes it on the client side and tells the client, see, your refresh time, move it, do it within the next 10 minutes. Pick a time,
okay.
do it within the next 10 minutes and stuff. So they didn't mention that there's an exception for XP in the manual. So I'll guess so.
Mm, mm.
Okay, so I think that's about it
Yeah,
for group policy application. So what's the next one that they want us to know after group policy application? Yeah, basically we've covered everything in lesson one. So nice one. So let's move to lesson
okay.
two. So let's
Woohoo!
so so nice one. So lesson two, here's the one that they here's the let's remove all these ones and then let's go the new ones that they want us to deal with in lesson two, which are basically these ones. Describe domain-based GPUs, which we won't go into any details about because we know that already. So what they're saying
Mm.
is a difference between domain-based GPU and local-based GPU. Describe
Yeah.
how to create link and edit GPUs. We won't go into this one also.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
this group policy storage. So this one is the one that we mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
where they
Yeah.
mentioned that group policy is actually defined into two, is group policy container and group policy template. So the
Mm.
containers are actually the ones stored in GPMC under the group policy object container, and then the group policy template, which are the settings, are stored in the sysvol folder.
Mm.
Then they went on and discussed that there's a difference in replication mechanism that they use.
Mm.
That this one uses Active Directory replication using knowledge consistency checker, which is basically the one that we've discussed earlier. So we can skip this one also because we've
Yeah.
met the objective. Starter GPU, we also won't go into it because of, I mean, we know what starter GPU is and what
Yeah.
it does.
It's like a template.
Yeah, exactly, like a
Yeah.
template.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
describe how to perform. Yeah, this one, we can go into this one.
Mm.
Common management tasks. So let's actually create a new board for that one. Because this one, they have like quite a few things that they went into. So common GPU management tasks. Number one, backing up GPUs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
backing up GPUs. So how do we back up GPUs?
You can right click on the
Yep, go ahead.
GP
Go ahead and
update.
show. So
Should
for
be
the recording, just for people
yeah.
that will be watching.
Should be here. Group
Hmm.
policy objects. Right click.
Yep,
Backup all,
yeah, good one.
and then you need a location, of
Yeah,
course. Uh,
and that
just
won't be
put it
good.
on the
Yeah, yeah,
something like GPO backup
yeah.
and uh, one. Okay.
See, yeah, exactly, good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you
So
back it up a second and a third time, you will also get some sort of history, I think.
yes,
Yeah.
yep,
Mm.
yeah. But and then of
Mm.
course the partial way, which is like I'm not sure but I'm sure that if you just go, yeah, the get command. You love partial. She's ed
Is
partial so much. She
is
said
your wife
I
also in IT business
no,
or?
she's not. But she's ed
Ah,
partial so much on hangout. She's like I hate partial.
okay. Okay.
Because I'm always talking about partial.
Yeah.
You hate type for me.
Perhaps you can try something like
GPO.
GPO or
Yeah.
GP or so.
Yeah, here we go.
Or you can get dash command Stern dash module name group policy or so.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
Ok-
yeah.
get command module. Is it good policy?
Group policy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah,
Nice one.
here we go.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, so it's basically using backup. Yeah, you just go backup GPO to and just look for the switch.
Yeah.
GUID, the name, path, comment, domain, server. Oh yeah. So basically
Mm.
like that's yeah, that one. And then yeah, they talked about restoring GPUs also. So how do we restore the one that you've backed up? So if you go ahead.
Mm. Yep.
So mention backup and restoring GPU.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
So
one.
manage backups
Yeah,
and then choose the one you want to restore and
yeah,
then pick restore.
restore. Nice
And
one.
I don't know if there is a difference between a normal policy and the default domain policy. So can I restore a default domain policy like any other policy, or is there a difference? Because there's a myth going around between
Mm,
my colleagues and
mm.
me that there is a difference in the default domain policy, but I
No,
don't know if it is true or not.
I
Yeah. Is it?
from my own understanding, I don't think so.
Mm,
I mean, the only difference between is the one that we're supposed to discuss last week, which is about default domain policies mainly for certain account, policies and stuff
mm,
like that, and that you can only set account policies at the domain level,
mm,
and you can't delete default domain policy. But
mm,
but apart from that, there's no difference, at least from my own understanding.
mm,
But
mm.
what reasons did they give? They could be right. What reasons did they
Um,
give?
no, there are no real reasons. It's just a myth. Like, oh, the default domain policy. Oh my God, don't touch it.
Yeah, because Microsoft advised that to say that
Yeah,
they always emphasize in their textbooks and everything to say, and the default domain policy is just leave it, don't touch it. If you
yeah,
want to
yeah.
make any other changes, create a new policy.
Just
Don't
use
make
it for the security settings and
exactly
stuff
for that
like
one.
that, and
Yeah,
don't put anything
and
else
inside,
in.
yeah. And I think the main, at least from my understanding, the main reason
Yeah,
for them saying that is easier management, so as not to make it clumsy, and all of a sudden you have lots of settings and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, then perhaps we can try restore.
yeah.
Okay. Perhaps off the default domain policy. Let's
Yeah,
try it out.
anyone, yeah. I don't think, yeah, it's not going to break anything at all.
Do you want to restore the
Yeah,
selected backup? Okay,
yeah,
restored.
it's going to restore that.
Succeeded. Okay.
So yeah, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then the other one things that they mentioned is basically the thing that we also know. Basically, the same principle of what you did is the same
Mm.
principle that we just follow, like the same principle of copying that. Hey, hello, Alex.
Hello,
Alex, and
Alex.
how you doing, man? You're right. Let me give you the. You're right, Alex. How you doing? Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Alex? Let me give Alex so that he won't be confused as to what we're discussing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need TeamViewer um to connect to the server that we're using to avoid confusion. So that's the ID and the password of the server that we're using so as to avoid confusion. We can hear you, but we're not sure if you can hear us. Can you hear us? Ah, you're muted. Mhm. Okay. Yep.
I'm back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
nice one. Yeah, no problem.
What about Alex? Is
Not
he
sure. I think
there?
it dropped off or something.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's all
Okay.
right. Yeah. So, okay. So that one. So the other thing that they wanted us to discuss under common management tasks of group policy is backing up and restoring GPOs.
Yeah. Have you tried backing up the GPO the way we did and restore the the backup GPOs in another forest? Have you tried? Have you
No,
tried it?
I've
Ah,
not.
okay.
I've not.
Okay.
Um, I'm not sure how that will work actually. If you try to, I think one way, even if it does not work directly, if you try to
Hmm.
restore it into another forest, you can import the settings.
Yeah.
Because that's one way that they mentioned in this
Yeah.
textbook. Uh,
Because there's you can back up a GPO
yeah,
and you also can export it. What
yeah,
about
yeah.
the
Or we can even import the setting from
yeah.
backed up GPO. So
Yeah.
we back up a GPO and then go and just import a policy settings.
Yeah, because there can be problems with SIDs when you got users in your group policy and then you import it into another forest.
Yeah,
The new forest, of course, doesn't understand the SID
yep,
that are in your that are stored in your group policy.
yep,
Then you can use this migration table editor, but I haven't used it. So
yeah.
I
So
just know it is there, but I never
yeah.
played.
So what they're saying is this, like for example, if we go for example, if you want to just go ahead and copy it, if I go open, where did you save the backed up GPO? The backed up GPO, where
Uh,
you saved it on the C drive, right? Is it?
Yeah, C and then
GPO backup.
yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if that will open. Let's go open. Um, mm, no, let's go in file. Let's just go to GPO. So what they're saying is that what they said in the textbook is when importing GPOs or copying them between domains, you can use the migration tables to modify references in GPOs that need to be adjusted. Says, for example, you may need to replace the universal naming convention part for folder
Mm,
redirection with a UNC part
mm.
that is appropriate for the new user group. So I'm thinking, but how do I open?
Perhaps you first have to create a new migration table.
Okay,
Wait,
I see what
wait,
you mean.
perhaps you have new.
Oh, okay, yeah, carry on. Sorry, carry on. Yeah.
Okay. Are you when you save it,
Mm-hmm.
you save this one as a migration table, and afterwards you can open it, because it looks at dot migration table
Mm-hmm.
files. But I never really worked with it.
Yeah, I'll copy them between the main.
Populate from GPO.
Okay. Or populate from backup maybe.
Yeah.
So let's say we backed it up from another domain,
Okay.
so we can populate from
Populate
backup.
from
Yeah,
backup.
yeah,
Okay. Then
yeah. Good
let's.
one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Oh. Populate from backup. Should-
Mm, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
And
have
then
the source
destination
name,
name
destination name.
could
Yeah.
be like uh,
Yeah.
domain at at is at Contoso.com.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is a problem.
yeah.
Doesn't work
Ah, okay.
like that.
Yeah, we'll get the point.
That's what I meant. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so that yeah, exactly. So that makes sense now. So we
Mm,
just go on the
mm,
tools
mm.
and populate from backup or populate from GPU, and then just make changes to, you know, whatever we're changing. So source type, domain global group. Yeah. Okay, makes sense now. And then we can use that for whatever folders that we want to import it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, good one. And then the other thing they mentioned is delegating control of GPUs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is like really straightforward also. And the one that you like basically we just go under security settings
Yeah,
and just edit who can create GPUs, who can do that. But what if we want to control who can link GPUs to OUs?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Who can link
Yeah.
GPL
So for
to?
example, we have administrators where like we don't want you to be able to link, any GPU to domain controllers container, for example.
I guess you have to do this in Active Directory users
Yeah,
and
so
computers
that's right.
because that's a linking right. So to
Yes.
say.
So you're right in that. So that one has to be done from Active Directory users and computers, and we have to go to Alters, delegate control, and you have to delegate control from here. Say, let's say, administrators. Let's delegate control and say, yeah. So what you can see here, we've got manage group policy links. Yeah. Or we can even go further and say, hey, we want a custom task. So we can delegate, we can delegate common task and say manage group policy links. Or we can say we want a custom task. And the custom task we can say, yeah, apply to this folder and any object in it. We can say general um, um, mm, nice. I think it's got something to do with this one. Let's say if I say manage group policy links,
Yeah, should be this one.
yeah, and I can say, do I want to allow this guy or do I want to deny him? If I go custom, I'm trying to look for a way to do it in the custom task, and this folder and existing objects, and go general property specific. So here, okay, so here's another thing that they mentioned that we can allow or disallow users or certain groups or users from even generating like the redundant set of policy
Mm,
for an OU.
mm,
So they said we can even control that from here. Yeah, I think this one exactly. So we can say read GP link, write GP link,
mm.
or read GP options, write GP options.
You
So
can
that's the
even
ones. Yeah.
you can even not allow to read a GPU.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. So that one has to be done from here if you want to control who can manage links or who can link
mm,
something to an OU. We have to do it from Active Directory users and computers. So that's the other thing that they mentioned.
mm,
Delegating
mm,
administration of group policies.
mm. Can
Um,
I? Well, It's like and how do I manage who can create GPOs?
So yeah,
It should be in the group policy. Should be somewhere there, right? So where's a group which can create group policies?
what do you think would do that? So, for example, if you go under the domain controller who use, sorry, go under the domain controller container, not OU. Ah, no, yeah, OU, it's OU. Yeah.
Wait a second, I have
No
to do
problem,
some
no problem, sorry.
some support. uh, nee. Okay, okay.
You quickly did some IT work.
Yeah. First level support. First level support on site. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if you go under the domain controllers OU, yeah, then under
Yeah.
delegation is where you do it. So under delegation there, to the
Mm,
right, you see delegation there.
delegation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's where you say you do that. So you say permission.
Okay. But who's allowed to create a GPO in
So
the group policy object?
change the permission to to whatever you want to change it to.
Perform results.
Or if you go under advanced, so you can do it per on a per OU basis. So let's see. Mm. So one other way that they mention in the textbook is this. They said there's one way. Said one way is under Active Directory users and computers to add the users to a group called Group Policy Creator Owners. They said we can do from here under this group that we can add the user to Group Policy Creator Owners. That will allow them to create GPOs. Or they said we can do it from here. So
Uh,
if I go
oh, I found a.
add, select the principal, uh, administrator. So we can select here and say, um, okay, hold on. This is under the domain controller object, right? Create group object. Do you think I'm under the wrong? Okay, read GP link, write GP link. So I think it's this one.
But it's a link. It's not a group policy object.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
that's
a
the
link.
link. So what about GP, write GP options? What's that pointing to? GP options. Yeah. So basically, like what they said here is that let's see.
I think it's not in the domain controllers. It should be in the group policy objects container.
container. Is it?
Yeah, yeah,
Because here's this one. They said the group policy tab in the properties page. They said um, this property page stores the user's choices into activity. Yeah, GP link, GP. Says to manage links to a site, domains, organization units, you must have read and write access to GP link and GP options properties. By default, domain admin have this permission. Um, it says creating GPOs. You can add the user to or group to membership of the group policy creator owners group. Um, it says this was the only method available prior to GPMC. It says explicitly grant the group or user permission to create GPO. So, okay, what you're saying is that this one is done via this method, via this one, this place here.
yeah.
And
And
we can
then
go
delegation
application.
and there are the group policy creator owners. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
this one. Oh, okay,
Perhaps
I
you
see.
can
So
perhaps you
if
can
I
look at
go
the properties.
properties,
Yeah,
um, so this is
members of.
just showing properties of the group.
Okay.
So if we go hard, let's go admin guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, admin, but then which right does he have?
That's a good question.
Properties. It's a property of the user that
That's
it's
strange.
wasting. So does it mean that if we add the following? Oh, okay, look at this at the beginning. It says the following groups and users can create
Can create
GPOs in this
GPOs in
domain.
the domain. Okay.
Okay. So we
Yeah.
can do it from there. But then if we want to now
Let's
limit
just
it,
yeah,
so what about if the user, let's say, let's remove this guy. Okay. But let's say if we want to now limit it, even though this guy can create
yeah,
GPO in this domain, but we want to
yeah,
say, hey, you can't link GPO to this OU, that's when we now
yeah,
use this
yeah,
one.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
now say
absolutely.
these are the people that can link GPOs to this OU.
Yeah,
So link GPOs are this only these people can link GPOs to this OU. So we can either do this one here or we can do it from delegation here. And under delegation we can select who can link GPO. Um, in GPMC, this permission can be managed using delegation tab on the site, domain, and organization unit. When you click the link GPO option in the permission drop down, okay, yeah. So what they're saying is that if we, when we go link GPO here, basically what they're saying is that basically what this is doing is giving read and write permission to um GP link and GP options. So that's what they said. So they said what that is basically doing when we go link GPO and we had the user here to be able to link GPO, what it's going to do is it's going to give the user read and write permission to the option GP link and GP options. So basically, we can still dig down and just go, hey, we're removing your option to write GP link or GP options. And that will
yeah,
basically remove the option for the user to be able to link GPO to that OU.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You can also use this method to give one user or one group.
Yeah.
You can deny. You can deny the right
Deny
to
that.
read the
Yeah.
GPO. Then you can use it for testing purposes, for
Yeah.
example.
But I'm thinking denying because I can't see any option here that specifically says deny. I can only see permissions there.
Yeah. Wait a second. It's
Yeah,
like
carry on.
when you
Okay, I
go
can
to the
see the setting there says
when you
allow. I can see.
yeah, but when you go to the default domain controllers
Yeah.
policy, for
Yeah.
example, and then you click on delegation
Yeah.
advanced, and then I could say like add uh, admin administrator,
Yeah.
and
I,
then this guy at the moment has the right to read this
mm-hmm.
policy.
Yeah.
But when I go on deny,
Mm-hmm.
this user wouldn't process this policy anymore.
Yeah. But this is
And you
like
can,
two. But this is like two sides. There's a
yeah,
side of delegation of control and there's a side of application
yeah,
of the GPU. So this is like application of the GPU itself. But what of like
yeah,
in terms of delegating control? of people creating and managing
Ah,
GPO and linking GPOs. So this side is the side of applying the GPO. For you to be able to apply the GPO, you have to have read access to it. But
yeah.
that doesn't stop me if I have the right to be able to use group policy management to connect to the domain controller and start creating GPOs.
Okay.
So that's like the two sides, I think.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
other side is
One
like
is
the
the yeah, one is the processing, and
yeah
the other is linking the group policy to an
to the OU itself.
to the OU. So
Yeah.
waiting for Windows. Just click the advanced button.
Yeah. It's a virtual box machine. I tell you what, the strange thing though is if I want to lab Hyper-V, I have to
Mm,
use VMware Workstation
mm, mm.
because VMware Workstation allow nested virtualization,
Ah,
but
okay.
Hyper-V doesn't.
Yeah,
Strange.
right.
It's strange. Microsoft has a product that won't allow us to practice, Hyper-V and stuff like that. Well, VMware, with VMware we can do it.
Okay, when we just go to this guy and
Yeah.
say edit, and then we should get all the
Oh, okay. On that type, we can deny. Yeah,
yeah,
I see. So what they're saying is that if we just say, link GPO permission, what they're
yeah,
saying is that what that would do is that it will just give the user read and write to GP link and GP options. So I think if you go under properties down, yeah.
yeah,
So it will
yeah.
just give the user read
This
and write to, yeah,
yeah,
GP link and GP options. So basically, if we remove this, it's still the same thing
yeah,
as not allowing the user to link
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah. And then we can do this from this side, or we can do this from the side of Active Directory users and computers.
Mm,
We just deny GP link and GP options, read and write.
mm,
Yeah. Okay, nice one, man. I mean, that's like really, really useful information. Yeah.
mm.
So the next one that they want us to be able to discuss, which is something that we won't go into details also, is about group policy, scope, and processing.
Ah, okay.
They
Mm,
want us to be able to describe the GPO link to a site domain, whether it's enforced, the thing that we've already done in 7410, blocking
mm.
inheritance, security filtering, WMI filtering, you know,
Yeah, it's
stuff like that.
like
Yeah.
this stuff here, like enforcing, blocking,
And stuff. Yeah.
security settings,
Yeah.
loopback processing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the two that I will actually
Mm.
find interesting to discuss. So let's mention that because a lot of people find that confusing. Loop back
Yeah,
processing.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's
yeah.
bring that up. Ah, did I? Okay, no, sorry. Let's go loop back processing in terms of group policy processing because all the other ones we've discussed them over and over again in 7410. But let's discuss loop back processing. So what's your understanding of loop back processing?
The loopback processing takes the computer part of also user part of a policy,
Yeah,
but from the place where the computer object sits. Yeah. So this is my understanding of it. So you
so
got a so the computer object is in one OU,
yeah,
and when loopback processing is activated, it will not take the configurations that are on the user part. They will
mhm,
take the user configurations on the OU where the computer sits.
yeah.
It's hard to explain. It's like perhaps you can paint two OUs and perhaps it can
Yeah, go ahead. I
will
mean, go
be a
ahead.
little
Take
bit
take the mouse. Go ahead, take the mouse, and let's do that. Yeah.
okay where
So that's Londisi one, the
like
picture
okay.
box there.
Yeah, okay. So this is our domain,
Yep,
and this is one OU,
yep.
and this is another
Mhm.
OU, and there's a GPO, and there's a user part, and
Yep,
a computer part,
yep.
and is it this one? Okay, I will write it again.
Mhm.
And then we got another OU, and here the user part and the computer
Computer
part.
part. Yep.
And normally, when the group policy um, processing takes place,
Mhm.
and the user is in this OU,
Mhm.
and in the upper OU, and the computer is in the perhaps we can
Yep.
wait a
So,
second.
yep.
So here's our
Yep.
user, and here's our
The computer.
computer.
Yep.
So, okay. And normally, when you've got a group policy processing, the group policy would take this user part.
Yep.
So, like this one.
Mhm.
I can't make it red.
Yeah.
And the computer part of this one,
Yep.
normally.
Yep.
But when you got loopback processing,
Mhm.
it will just take this lower part here, like the user part and the computer part.
Yep.
This is my understanding of it.
Yep.
But it would totally ignore the upper user part of this group policy object.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now, how do
Yeah.
we configure loopback processing?
It's also a group policy
It's automatic.
uh, setting. No, it's normally it's disabled, but you can enable it
So where do
via
we
group
enable it
policy.
from?
Oh, we have to filter again. We have to filter again. Mm,
Mhm.
it's not in
Yeah.
preferences. It's like
Mhm.
oh, filter on. Filter options. Loop back. All settings.
Mhm.
Configure user group policy loopback processing mode.
Mhm.
Okay. And there's also the possibility to
Merge.
replace
Yeah.
the settings, and you can also merge the settings if
Yep.
they are conflicting.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
If they are
So
conflicting,
also,
which one will win?
I guess computer part.
Yep. The computer part will.
This would make sense.
The computer part will win if they are conflicting. And that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But I never used it. I have a colleague who is administrator of our terminal servers, and he
yeah.
uses it a lot.
Um.
But
So that's
I
one thing that because when I was reading this, I was thinking, why would I want to use something like this in my environment?
mm, mm,
You know, is there any
mm,
reason why I want to use something like this? I can't really think of
mm.
that much.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like when you got a terminal server
Mhm.
and you don't want folder replication, for example, or you got your own folder replication.
Mhm.
You don't. He doesn't want to have all the user stuff from our primary domain because there are two different security zones
Mhm.
in our domain,
Yeah.
and our users typically click on a published application, as the
Mhm.
published application is running on his terminal server,
Mhm.
and he doesn't want all the user configuration stuff in his domain,
Yeah.
and then he disabled all this
Stuff from the
this
computer
stuff
side,
from the
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
enables loopback processing.
yeah. And
Yep.
also we did a Citrix test site in our domain.
Yep.
It was a OU, it was not a site.
Yep.
And then we also said, okay, we want to do some folder replication,
Mhm.
and we want to test the Citrix stuff um, with normal users, but we
Yep.
don't want the users to get all their user configuration from different OUs.
Yep.
And then we also used loopback processing. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think
Mm.
that yeah.
Or perhaps when you are in a kiosk environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Nice one. Yeah. That does. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense as a good reason to use something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
Or in a in a front office, for example, when you are in a front office with a lot of customers coming in, and
Mm-hmm.
you always want the background picture, for example, with your corporate identity logo,
Mm-hmm.
then you can also use loopback processing, for example.
Yeah. Yeah. Then the other thing, like for example, like the one thing about they mentioned that in order to speed up group policy processing, we can disable, like maybe if we're configuring a group policy mainly for computers, we can disable the user part of it to make it faster
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
processing. Yeah.
yeah. That's
And
true.
and of course, yeah, you know how we do that. So if you show how we do that, it's for the
Yeah,
sake of the recording, yeah. So we'll go to the policy itself and just disable either the user or the
yeah,
computer part,
yeah,
and that
yeah,
will speed up the application of the group policy.
yeah,
So because we're like, yeah, there's really no point in processing any user part because this is
yeah,
configured mainly for computers
yeah. Mm.
and stuff. Yeah, good one. Okay, so let's see. We've got 10 more minutes. Let's see how many more we can cover. Okay. Let's see the next one that they want us to do. Um, okay. Yeah, I don't think we'll be able to. Yeah, but let's see the last one. Yeah, let's see how far we can go. Says troubleshooting. We still have troubleshooting to go, but we're not yet in troubleshooting because the next thing that they want us to do is um, let's go back to the objectives. Okay, strategies for computers that are connected or which are connected by slow links.
Ah, okay. Mm.
So that's the next thing that they want us to discuss. So they said describe. So let's go back and let's bring up paint again. So they want us to describe strategies for computers that are connected by slow links.
Mm.
Uh, that are disconnected or which are connected by slow links. So what's your thought on this? Or what's your understanding of this? Because they
Mm.
did
You
they
know,
did go
when,
into like quite some details regarding this one. Like
yeah. So
um,
when a computer is disconnected, I think the computer will process all the cache group policies.
yeah,
This is normally the behavior.
yeah. What about slow links?
Um, I know that there are exceptions in the processing, like folder replication and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But I've never seen it in production
Yeah.
because we never got slow links. So I'm lucky
Yeah.
because we don't have a lot of VPN connections or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you can also you can configure the limit.
Hmm.
So you configure the threshold.
Yeah.
So what the group policy thinks that a slow connection is.
Yeah. So let's see. Let's go slow link.
Mm,
So I think by default, Microsoft says by default it's 500 kilobits per second, which is really, really slow.
mm,
So let's go configure slow link speed. Yeah, so this is it.
yeah,
So here we can configure. So by default it's 500 kilobits per second, but we can come and here and define what we consider to be slow,
yeah,
or yeah, what we consider to be slow, and that can
yeah.
be a network offline files.
I think you can also see on the GP result
Yeah.
-R
Mm-hmm.
if actually the client thinks that the connection was slow.
So if I
Uh,
go GP
GP
results
result -R.
slash out.
Yeah.
Mm,
In XP it's just GP result, but somehow in they changed it.
So let's
Okay.
go. Yeah, so group policy. So it
There
mentions
should be
there
something like group
disconnect.
policy slowing threshold,
Yeah,
and isn't there something like
yeah. It
uh,
mentions
threshold. Okay.
So
But
you're
it's just
thinking
a
to mention somewhere like here whether I
yeah,
failed it or
slow link, yes, no. Ah, connecting over a slow link, no.
yeah, okay,
This is a
good one.
sentence, yeah.
That's a really
So
good
you
one.
get
Yeah,
the threshold and you got the info if you got connected over a slow
over
link
slow
or
link.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good one, very good
Mm,
one. And then we can specify like basically different behaviors of the CSEs
mm.
based on whether it's slow link or not.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, and some
That's
of
that's the
them,
stuff you showed like 1 hour ago. Yeah.
but then they mentioned something though. Like for example, let's
Yeah.
disable our filters there, and let's go back to system and group policy because some of them we can change, some of them we can't change.
Yeah.
For example, if we go under um, registry policy processing, so yeah, configure registry policy processing. So we can't change whether the behavior over slow link for registry, but we can change
Ah,
it.
okay.
Yeah, we can change it for registry, but configure Internet Explorer maintenance policy. But we can change it for Internet Explorer policy. So actually, I wish let me see if I can make cut kind of like a screenshot of the manual. Um, yeah, quickly. Let's go. Um, copy to clipboard. And let's see if this one, let's see if you paste. No, it doesn't want to paste. So if I go file, no, it doesn't want to paste. Okay, let me look for another way. Let's print screen. Let's copy this. Um, where you modified. Okay, so what I'll do is let's uh, copy, go to the desktop here, paste. Yay, there we go. Good one.
Ah.
So you can see registry policy processing, slow leak processing is on. Can it be changed? No. So it cannot be changed for registry and for security. For other CSEs, it can be changed.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we
Ah,
can we, we
mm.
can change it for every other CSEs, further redirection, scripts, every other one. But we cannot change it for registry and for security. So for
Mm.
registry and for security, whether over slow link or not over slow link, the behavior will be the same. But for
Ah,
others, we can change the behavior over slow link or not. Yeah. So that's one thing that they mentioned in the manual.
yeah. Because you can somehow hack the connection to
Yeah.
slow link and then some security stuff wouldn't
Exactly.
work and
Good
some crazy
good
hackers would
thinking.
become some crazy exploit ideas and so yeah, okay.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't
Yes.
even, I didn't even think about it that way, but that's really accurate.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
Yeah.
if you're an hacker, you can just look for a way to make the computer appear as though it's over a slow link. So then the
Yeah.
settings won't be applied, and then you
Yeah,
can just go ahead and
absolutely.
yeah and take advantage on stuff like that.
Yeah, I've really read some crazy stuff. So it's like when the group policy gets applied
Yep.
and the group policy is looking for a script,
Yep.
you can actually fake the IP address of the file server,
Yep.
and afterwards you can give the client a script file of your choice, and they
Uh,
changed it just recently or so. But it's just crazy. Yeah, it's
yep.
like people become the craziest ideas. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah. They do.
yeah,
They do. It's true. Yeah, and yeah,
yeah,
especially, but there was something I was reading like recently about the least secure operating system. Well, someone disagreed with it. I think I posted it to the community page. Someone said it could be a marketing trick, but apparently Mac and Linux were least secure than Microsoft last year because
mm,
they had more vulnerabilities than Microsoft
yeah.
last year.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. Yeah.
Somebody posted on that and said America, and I said,
Yeah.
well, I think it's like it could be a marketing stuff, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And today I read that Apple just banned all the antivirus products from its store. Yeah, it's
Today,
just recently. Yeah, today. I just read it
because
today,
I
but
know something happened because I work for an antivirus company and I know something like that happened some time ago. But then
yeah,
that's strange. Yeah, okay, let's see what
yeah.
happens. Okay, maybe we'll
Well,
get to
let's
office
see what's
tomorrow.
happened
Now
now.
you're scaring me of going to the office tomorrow. Our office won't be crazy tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, then the other one that they wanted us is disconnected computer. So not only slow link computers, but disconnected computer. And the
Yeah,
thing that you've mentioned, yeah, is that group policy caching.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just gonna apply policies that are cached, and that's it. And then after that, which other one do they want us to discuss? The next thing that they want us to discuss. So basically, we've covered all the objectives. The ones that we've not covered, we already covered in 7410. So the next one is troubleshooting, which we won't be able to cover. But again, troubleshooting is something that I think, I mean, basically group policy results, the GP result, or the group policy modeling wizard. So what's the difference? So what? But there's two. There's a difference from the server side. We have the group policy results wizard and the modeling wizard. Let's just quickly run through those two. So what's like the difference between the two of them? So there's the modeling wizard and the results wizard. What's the difference between the two of them?
I think the modeling is something like when you move the user in this OU and the computer in this OU, which group policy will be the result,
Yeah.
and the group policy result is actually the user is in this OU,
Mm,
and which settings are get applied
exactly.
to
So
this user.
yeah.
Yeah.
So group policy result is more of like what is the policy that is currently applied on this? So
Mm,
let's say group policy result wizard. Um, we query the user's computer and report. So basically, this one is like basically talking to the computer directly and saying, tell me which policy is currently applying on you right now. So
mm,
whichever user is logged into you, tell me which policy is applied to you. So that's result wizard. So it's basically telling you the current live, you know, version of what is being applied on the computer. Why
mm,
modeling is before you even apply anything, you're trying to model and say if this user is in this OU, like you said, which one will be applied.
mm.
So this from the server side, and then from the client side, we can use gpresults.exe and all that stuff.
Yeah. Ah, I got a nice question. Wait
Yeah,
a second.
kind of.
So there's also RSOP,
Yeah,
resultant set
yeah,
of policies,
yeah,
and it looks like okay, that's a username, that's a computer name, and afterwards you will get a nice GUI,
yeah,
and in this GUI you got all the configurations that are set on the client based
yeah,
on all the group policies.
yeah.
So, but when you look here, you just got the user configuration, software settings, Windows settings.
Hmm.
But when I look at the group policy, we take this one for example. What about the preferences? Ah, you see, so this is like just the just the software settings and Windows settings.
Yeah.
But what about the preferences like Windows settings and drive maps and stuff like that? Is there a way to look at this stuff
Do you
too?
get that from GP results
I
preferences?
don't I
So
don't think so.
if I go to this one, so I
No.
go GP results, um GP um am I getting something wrong? GP results slash is this slash age for
Yeah,
exporting it to HTML?
yeah, yeah. Perhaps with us without the dash R option. I don't know. Perhaps just give it a try. Yeah.
Strange. Uh, so that's under C users administrators. So let's go look for it there. Let's see if we get preferences there. Because this one is, yeah, so basically this one is like, these are the GPOs themselves. So the
Yeah.
GPOs could include preferences, it doesn't mind. It's like these are
Yeah.
the applied GPOs, and this one and this one. So it could include, so it's not actually like showing you the settings themselves, it's just showing you the group policy objects that are
Yeah.
applied.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this one is not going into details to show these are the settings that are inside that GPO. These are applied GPOs, these are the night GPOs. Why this one is trying to show these are the GPOs, these are the settings that have been applied.
Yeah. Yeah. But the
And there's no
preferences
preference, yeah.
seems,
So I'm
yeah,
not, yeah.
seems to.
So what do you think? What do you think? Like, is there a way to view what's actually going on with the preferences there?
I don't know. I just asked it in the Microsoft TechNet forum like 2 days ago
Yeah.
because there was a problem and I want to figure it out. And I told
Ah,
yeah, it's okay. And also a colleague of me asked me this question, but
yeah,
I'm not quite sure. I just try to figure this out. Yeah.
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 I'll probably look into that also. Probably look
Yeah,
into
yeah,
that.
because
Yeah,
it can be very useful. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Because I know what you mentioned with preferences, that preferences just make changes directly to the registry. And
Mhm.
so it's not like just policy settings, it's making changes directly to the registry. And the only way to do that is go directly straight into the registry to see what's going on. So I'm not sure, maybe because preferences are like something new
Mm.
in 2008 and so.
Yeah.
So maybe it could be that maybe it doesn't happen because RSOP has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So it
I
could be
know.
that maybe it's not
Because
showing up this way, and maybe there's like a better method
yeah.
to use. So yeah, you're right.
Have you ever tried to configure the Internet Explorer via group policy?
Yeah, I have.
Have you tried it?
Yeah, I have. I think yeah, I have.
It's so it's
So it depends on the version that you're applying to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It depends on the version and wait a second. When you go to Internet settings
Yeah.
and new,
Mhm.
so it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And there's 10,
Yeah.
and 10 depends on the Internet Explorer version that was installed on the machine.
Yeah.
Like 8 is also Internet Explorer
Yeah.
11, and
Yeah.
you configure it when you configure Internet Explorer 10,
Yeah.
because 10 will configure 10 and 11.
Yeah.
That's yeah, you have to know this. Yeah, it's like this one. The green ones will be applied,
Mhm.
and the red dotted ones will not be touched.
Mhm.
And you have to hit F6, and
Ah.
then it's like test.com.
Mhm.
So when you just configure this like it is,
Yeah.
it will not modify the homepage because there's this red dotted area.
Yeah.
And you just have to hit F6.
Yeah.
Perhaps it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Um,
The
and
question would
then
be, what's the point of making it like this?
um, I I don't know. I don't know.
Because why you have to
Because
hit F6 to get that to apply? What's the reason
I,
for that?
I, I
That
don't know.
Microsoft have done.
I don't. It's strange, yeah, because you when I do some sort of configuration in
Yeah.
this homepage part
Yeah.
and I hit apply, I
Yeah.
would think
Y-
that the
You
change
know,
would get applied to the
I
client.
didn't notice till you mentioned it now. I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. You
Yeah.
have to hit F6 and then it will get
You know what? That
just
you could have helped me to answer a question because I configured.
yeah,
You know, you were asking me, did I configure? I actually configured it recently
yeah,
in a test environment, and I was wondering how come it's not happening. I can't see the home
yeah,
page, so maybe I have to hit
yeah,
F6
yeah, yeah.
because I
It's the
went to the home page
same.
and it was showing me MSN, and I was wondering. I changed the home page. I'm sure I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes
Okay.
sense. Good one.
There's a TechNet or blog article. Wait a second.
Ah, nice one.
Internet Explorer EPO F5 F6 F8 green underline. Yeah.
Yeah,
Blocks TechNet preferences F6. Ah,
let's see.
yeah. This is
Ah,
a
yeah, got it.
this is a nice article.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so
explain it.
let me
So
bring this
F5,
up as well.
F6, F7, and F8 are very important.
Wow.
Um, and it's totally new. And there's no hint. There's nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
exactly.
yeah, it's like, oh, you just have to know this. Yeah. It's so
Wow.
crazy.
This is a
So
nice
and it
one.
was driving me nuts. It was really
I think I'll post it in the community, I mean
yeah,
the community page also. That's
yeah,
a nice one. Nice
yeah,
one, man.
yeah.
Ah, good one, man. So finally,
Mm.
we're done with 7411. I mean, we've covered
Yeah.
all the, apart from, I mean, one of my favorite topics, but no one showed up for that one, so we missed that one,
Oh,
which is the Active Directory replication and schema
yeah.
and all the stuff last week and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll skip that one. But I mean, we've covered every single topic of 7411, which is really, really good because we've come like a long way. So
Mm.
basically, we'll probably just rest next week, then probably the week after or so, then we can probably see if we can start 7412.
Yeah, it's okay.
And then
So
yeah, we just finish that one too, and then we'll see how far we go.
okay,
So I mean, but it's a good
okay.
thing that we've come this far, that we've finished the whole 7411 modules, discussed everything, and learned a lot from each other and all that stuff. So it's a really, really good one. It's been really productive and all that stuff. So good
Yeah,
one, man. So next week we just rest next week, and then we'll
yeah,
decide, when to start 7412, and then we'll go from
yeah.
there.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
nice
okay.
hanging out with you, Sven. Thanks very much.
Okay. Yeah.
Really,
Thank you
really,
too.
really, really learned a lot and all that stuff, and yeah,
Yeah.
really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.